Alright everyone, let's take a break from coding for a couple of minutes and let's design the graphical user interface for our calculator. This part can be pretty fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to K, slide up here to Development, go to GUI Designer, and then we can slide over here to Qt Designer and let this open. And to save some space, I'm going to make my taskbar go away. Okay, now we just want a simple dialog box, so that's selected already. I can select OK. Now you can see my space is kind of limited here because I have to record this at 800 by 600, so yours won't look as cramped as this. So I'm just gonna make my little window smaller. So if I do preview form, you can see I have a nice big window here. Now for a calculator, we don't have to have a window this big. So I'm gonna close this, scroll down here, scroll over, and I'm gonna make my little dialog box smaller. Something that looks maybe about that big. Okay, so down here we have the properties of this dialog box. The first thing, the name, I'm going to call this calculator. I might change that later, haven't decided yet. I'm going to scroll down to where it says caption right here. And if you look at the top of the dialog box here, it's going to change my Linux calculator. Whoops. Calculator. Yay! So it says my Linux calculator on the top. Okay, so now let's get down to the fun stuff. Let's start putting some buttons on here. If over here on common widgets, you see where it says push button, I can select this, click and drag. Lo and behold, I have a button. So if we can kind of envision what a calculator looks like, I'm going to make my buttons a little smaller, just like that. I think that looks pretty neat. If I were to do preview and preview form, see I have a little button here. I can push it. It doesn't do anything, but I can push it. So let's just select it, Control C and then Control V so we can paste another one next to it. And if you envision what a calculator looks like inside of your head, we're going to have the buttons 1, 2, 3. They're going to look something like that. Now with all three of those selected, hold Control C, then Control V. So then we'll have 4, 5, 6, and then we'll paste again 7, 8, 9. So if I double click on this, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All I'm doing is I'm double clicking on them and I'm changing their value. 7. And all this is doing is this is changing the value of what it says to me. It has nothing to do with like the programming itself. So I got buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Preview form. So I have all my buttons here. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4. They don't do anything, but they're there. Close this. Now if you can also envision a calculator, I'm going to take one of these buttons. There's usually a 0 button down here that takes up about that much space. So if I double click on that, I could change the value of it to 0. I'm going to copy this 3 here, paste it below it, and there's a nice little spot there for a decimal. So we got the little, even though it might be hard to see, there's a decimal there, there's a dot. And let me copy these two, paste them right next to this. We'll make this one, we'll do times, so we'll do a capital X for times. This will be subtraction, and then usually below subtraction, whoops, I'm gonna copy that button. Usually below subtraction we're gonna have a nice tall plus. Alright, and we might be slowly running out of room here. I'm gonna select all of them, move them over. So then I'm gonna copy this line again and paste it next to it because we have a couple more buttons we need. This one is going to be division, so I can do a slash or division sign. This one will be SQRT for square root, and this one here will be equals, and then OK. So I have a good amount of buttons here. I'm missing one button, however, and we'll just make one real quick. Make it all look nice and pretty. This is my clear. Alright. So I got a little bit of space. I have space here for my display and maybe something here I can write. So let me scroll down here And I have a line edit, a Q line edit. I'm going to select that. And this is going to be my display, so I'm going to move this out across the screen. You can make it as big or as small as you want, as long as it's a Q line edit. Make sure that that's important that we do that. So if I did preview and forum, I have this little thing here. I can write in it, but it doesn't really do much. So let me move this up, select all of these, bring those up, so everything's all nice and tight together. Maybe shrink the size of my form a little bit. Alright, oops, let me change that. Bring this in. Bring this in. Good, so I have a nice tight looking calculator right here. So I'm going to click on my Q list box, and here's my properties of it. I'm going to call, the name of it is going to be display. Then I'm going to scroll down here. There's a couple of things I want to change. I'm going to change my font. It's set at size 10. I'm going to make it bigger. Let's see what 24 looks like. Select 24, preview, forum. 24, nice big, perfect. And a couple other things. I'm going to keep going down, 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 down. Where is... Alright, horizontal alignment. We want this to be right, just like it would be on a calculator. So preview, forum. Now everything's going to be pushed up against the right. So this looks a lot better. Okay. Now, we have pretty much the basics of the graphical user interface written and looking all nice and cute. When we come back, we're going to name all of these, give them all variable names, and then we're going to put slots together.